8 in the morning on March 8, 2014. You just boarded Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 in Kuala Lumpur destination, Beijing, 12 hours of flying. You've stowed your carry-on, found your seat, and the plane has started moving down the runway. The night sky is clear. The Boeing 777 lifts off at 12:41 in the morning. You close your eyes for a moment. Coded, there are 238 other people on board, 227 passengers, and 12 crew. Most of them are already dozing off. A few are reading. Children have their heads pressed against their parents' shoulders. It's a flight like any other. At 1:19 in the morning, the co-pilot makes the last contact with Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control. The final words captured are simply, "Good night, Malaysian 370. Routine.com, no alarm." Nobody in the control room understands that those words are the last communication they will ever have with this aircraft. At 1:21 in the morning, the plane's transponder goes dark. This doesn't happen on its own. Someone deliberately switched off the system that allows civilian radar to track the aircraft. The flight vanishes from control screens. Air traffic controllers try to make contact. No response. But you don't know any of this. Here, lying in your seat at 33,000 feet, maybe sleeping. Maybe staring out the window at the darkness below. The plane is still flying. The engines are running normally. Nothing you can feel suggests anything is wrong. The cabin is pressurized. The lights are on. The temperature is comfortable. Military radar in Malaysia continued tracking the aircraft for 1 hour and 18 minutes after the transponder went off. What that radar recorded is deeply disturbing. The plane didn't continue toward Beijing. It tracked back across the Malay Peninsula. It crossed the Strait of Malacca, and then it headed northwest in the opposite direction from its final destination. Someone changed course deliberately. That requires technical knowledge. It requires access to the flight deck. It requires a decision, whether it was the captain, the co-pilot, or a third person who forced entry into the cockpit. Nobody knows. Investigators examined the life of every single crew member. They found that Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah had a home flight simulator. They found that a similar route had been simulated on that machine. But home simulators are a common hobby among career pilots. Nothing proves anything. The plane flew for more than 6 hours after that last contact. 6 hours. That means while the entire world was searching, while radars swept the ocean, while families waited at airports with no information, Malaysian 370 was still airborne, going somewhere. With 239 people on board, a satellite system called Inmarsat recorded 7 automatic handshake signals between the aircraft and a geostationary satellite. These signals don't transmit position. They only confirm that the aircraft is still connected to the network. Engineers at Inmarsat spent days analyzing the data. The speed and angle of the signals, cross-referenced against timing, indicated that the plane ended its flight somewhere along an arc in the southern Indian Ocean. Far from any coastline, one of the most isolated and deepest stretches of water on Earth. Why south? Because the mathematical analysis of the signals left to possibilities: a northern arc or a southern arc. The northern arc crossed countries with military radar. None of those countries registered the plane. The southern arc, open ocean, no witnesses, was consistent with leaving no trace. That's where search efforts were concentrated. The search region is staggering in scale. Parts of the southern Indian Ocean reach depths of more than 13,000 feet. Conditions are brutal: powerful currents, frequent storms. Search vessels took weeks to reach the area. When they arrived, they found ocean. Only ocean. In July of 2015, a wing fragment called a flaperon washed up on the shore of Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean. Analysis confirmed it belonged to Malaysian 370. That was the first physical proof the plane had gone down in the ocean. In the months that followed, more small fragments were found on beaches in Madagascar, Mozambique, and Tanzania, all consistent with the aircraft. None revealed where the main body sank. the ocean keeps its secrets exceptionally well. When Air France 447 went down in the Atlantic in 2009, it took nearly 2 years to recover the black boxes. But Air France 447 had sent automated system failure messages before it crashed. Investigators knew, within a relatively small margin of error, where to look. With MH370, the margin of error wasn't kilometers. It was hundreds of kilometers. You're still on that plane. Your mind doesn't know what your body is already living through. The air around you is the same air. The seats are the same seats. But something has fundamentally changed. At some point during this journey, maybe shortly after takeoff, maybe hours later, the fate of this aircraft was permanently altered. Investigators considered every hypothesis, sudden onboard explosion ruled out because the plane flew on for hours. Hijacking possible, but no ransom demand ever came and no subsequent contact was ever made. Catastrophic systems failure ruled out for the same reason. Deliberate depressurization of the passenger cabin followed, by a rogue pilot diverting the aircraft, considered the most coherent hypothesis by multiple aviation experts, but never confirmed. If there was a deliberate depressurization, you would have lost consciousness within minutes. The cabin would have grown cold. There would have been no pain. Just a gradual dimming, like falling asleep far faster than normal. And then nothing. The plane would have continued flying for hours with 239 unconscious passengers. A ghost in the sky, Zahari Ahmad Shah's family denied any suggestion of suicidal motivation. His colleagues described him as passionate about aviation, experienced, emotionally stable B family of co-pilot Farik Abdul Hamid, 27 years old and recently engaged, was devastated. Farik was supposed to be married soon. No note was ever found. No video, no message. Nothing that explained anything. In March of 2020, for 10 years after the disappearance, Malaysia announced it would resume the search using an American company called Ocean Infinity, equipped with autonomous submersibles capable of scanning new sections of the ocean floor. The operation was structured on a no-find, no-find basis. At the same time, an independent technical report pointed to a new search zone based on updated satellite data analysis. The zone covers approximately 15,000 square kilometers. The floor of the southern Indian Ocean has not been fully mapped. There are sections of that seafloor that no human instrument has ever photographed. If MH370 is down there, it is buried in sediment at more than 13,000 feet of depth. In absolute darkness, without light, without life, in the most complete silence that exists. 239 people, 239 stories, 239 families who, for more than a decade now, have lit a candle, looked toward the ocean and received no answer. Children who grew up without a parent. Parents who grew old waiting for word about a child. Couples who boarded together and left behind nothing but a photograph on a wall. The last officially recorded message from Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was a routine radio call, delivered calmly by a co-pilot who had no idea it was the last one. The night, Malaysian 370. A farewell that nobody on the ground knew they were receiving, and a night that, for 239 people, never ended the way it should have.